Is it okay to ask, like, why doesn't Marvel hit you up?
I have my theories.
Okay, we don't have to get into it.
I mean, years and years ago, I did an issue of Marvel Zombies, and they really dug it. And I was actually in a trip in New York, and some of the editors took me out to lunch. And they were just like, this is great, man. Like, what do you want to do at Marvel? I'm like, yeah, like, let's talk about it when I get back and blah, blah, blah. One of the main editors at the time was pitching me on doing a book over, and kind of like this one. It was like I think it was like a Namor book that doesn't have Namor in it.
Oh, I know the book.
It's called No More.
No more.
Yes.
This is the Inkpulp podcast.
And we are here.
The Inkpulp
Good morning.
space with the K-pop demon slayer himself, Jason Shawn Alexander.
Did you watch it?
I watched it last night. It's great. It's
I
great.
haven't watched it yet. I'm waiting
It's
for
great.
my daughter's coming home tomorrow, and I'm waiting for her so we can all kind of watch it together.
Dude, definitely watch it with your family. It's this brilliant animated movie on Netflix called K-pop Demon Slayer, and it's made by Sony Animation. So it's basically like Spider-Verse vibes. But it's like anime leaning, anime kind of tribute, but dude, it's so well done. I was blown away by it, but I was also like, this is also like the gayest thing I've ever seen in my life.
So
I mean that in the best way possible. But I could imagine like you and your kids like dancing at your house, Jason, and then hopefully afterwards, after that, you were like, now the next thing we're watching, kids, is I'm going to introduce you to Candyman. You know, like something like horror, like some crazy horror shit, because I know you. So it's like, okay, we had our little K-pop thing, but it's K-pop girls fighting demons. It's badass. It's great.
Okay. I got what it is. I saw I saw the cover for it on the Netflix page. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the premise is brilliant, but really it's the execution. Like the fight scenes are fight scenes / music videos. Like it's kind of amazing. The whole time I'm watching it, I agree fully with Jim, but I'm just like, I've never seen anything like this before. And I'm like, these guys just keep knocking it out of the park. Like, so that studio is it's innovative. Like everything that would keep happening story wise or visually, I was just,
yeah, man. I think all four of us are big fans of, if you can artistically blend genres and pull it off, whether it's in comics, movies, music, that's what they did here. And I don't know anything about K-pop, but I was like, this is a great representation of, I guess, what this culture is, or the appeal of it. Or, I mean, the songs are catchy. I don't really listen to modern pop music, but they successfully blended all this genre stuff together. And I mean, that I'm a pop culture fan, so I appreciate that part of it, you know. And that's what I love about pop culture in general, comics and movies. If you can kind of give me a little bit of everything in one dose in a badass package.
This thing really did that. Like my wife watches a ton of Korean soap operas for some reason, and she was like, there's one scene where like they bump into the girls, and it's just done with so much slow motion and so many different angles. She was like crying. She was cheering so hard. She was like, oh my God. So apparently culturally it was pretty on point.
Okay. Yeah.
That's wicked.
Oh, speaking of K-pop, Jim, do you remember in Japan when we went there on the Sunday when the show was over, and coincidentally what's the name of the band, BTS?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Just ended at the same time as the show, and it was close to the convention place. So we had this like huge group of teenagers. It was just a sea of teenagers. And we had to grab the metro and everything. And we were surrounded, literally surrounded.
Yeah. Matteo and I were nervous. We were with Peach Momoko and her husband Yo because we got to the train station and I had never seen this many people packed into a space together. So we're like, okay, we're going to walk through this crowd in the train station to catch a train. And Matteo's like, let me just hang to the side and smoke a cigarette real quick before let's process what's going to happen here. And because they're natives to Japan, it was Peach, ironically, little Peach was like, she grabbed her suitcase and led the charge and was using her suitcase to form
to
a
move
path
people away. Yeah.
through. So like little Peach, we're like, okay, we're just following them now. And excuse me, very politely, everyone in Japan's very polite, but she was able to carve out a path to the train we needed to get to. But the whole time I was like, dude, if this was America, like people would be killing each other.
Oh my God. And it's so weird because you think about the Japanese culture, you know, everybody's polite, you know, they keep the distance. They never, you know, over the top with any, you know, kind of interaction. But then when it's time to go and it's too many people, everybody understands. So you're cramped up. There's no problem. Like you literally like this, you're pushing against each other, not an aggressive way. It's just a survival mode. Like there's so much space and there's so many of us that we have to be, we have to be like sardines for a second. And that's it. You know, that's the life we're going to leave for over the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. This is wild, man. Jason, in your house, because your wife is a working actress, you're a professional artist, like, is there a lot of different frames of reference for things? And I mean, I'm assuming your kids are being exposed to lots of different stuff, lots of different art, music, that kind of thing. It seems like your kids are going to turn out to be cool, I think is what I'm getting at.
I think so.
Here. Yeah.
They seem it.
They're in good hands. Yeah.
No, it's a weird thing, especially living in LA. Like our neighbors who just moved in right next door are a young filmmaking couple. And so he literally was shooting a pilot to a thing and needed a family. And so we're all friends now. And so he called us over. And so for this pilot that he's pitching, like we're this family at this table.
Oh, cool.
And so it's just weird little things. Like Ray has been in a couple of commercials.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Aiden has been, he does everything, but he's been drawing his ass off for the last probably 6 months. And it's kind of been amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. I saw some pictures of him working at the studio right in front of you. Is that right?
Yeah. I saw that.
I feel like there's a mirror there. Cause I know I started young with my dad, and I think it was not only did I like art that he was doing, but it was like a way to, connect, because I had siblings and all of that. And so this was a way to like, oh, dad's doing something cool. We can be buddies. And I think that it feels like there's a similarity because he really likes to do it together. But his growth, even at that age, I mean, it just proves, the 10,000 hours, like he does it every day and fills sketchbooks. Wow. And so I'm like, amazing. Dude, he's getting better fast.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
dude.
Man.
It's the best. And when they get older, Jay, it just gets better. Like
I love it.
They become cooler. Like you give them the room to just be themselves and be an individual, and they just blossom.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like 15 years for me from now.
Oh no, right? Matteo, you've got a demon. You're in.
I gotta go through hell, a 15 years long hell, and then it's gonna be cool. Oh, shit. Unless he turns into a serial killer, which is what seems to
it's possible.
Yeah, it's very, very possible.
The Italian serial killer.
Like the other day, lately, like my girlfriend is probably so tired, so that's why she talks this way. But literally, it's just the third time over the past week I hear her say, "He's an horrible human being." Literally, not just an asshole, just a horrible human being. Oh my God. Oh, well, by the way, Jason, you were saying so your dad is or was an artist as well?
Yeah, amateur, but like, yeah, he was always he's always making the art.
Okay.
I mean,
Painter?
I remember being mostly drawing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's where that one even came from as well. Like, I remember it being 6 years old, and he would have big drawings of like these cliff sides, but in the cliffs he would have like faces in the rocks and stuff like that. And he liked the kind of fantasy fun stuff. I would have him look through my little viewfinder thing.
Viewfinder, those are magic.
I had a viewfinder of Thriller, and so I would have him draw me the werewolf changes from the viewfinder.
Dude, that explains so much about you. That you had the Thriller one specifically, because that that's the peak of like 80s Rick Baker special effects.
Thriller changed my life.
Dude,
it was
Thriller.
Terrifying, and I then became obsessed with werewolves and then
me too.
Zombies and all that.
Yeah,
I was terrified watching that for the first time.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I
was like, I was at my friend's house. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
and this was 5 years ago, Shawn, as Jason.
Right. I just saw it last week.
So, Jason, did you? Because we talked about this a little bit on your Inkpulp live appearance, but did you immediately gravitate toward the special effects creativity, or you were always drawing, but then at some point you were also considering like maybe special effects for movies and stuff is my direction, right?
Junior high into high school, I had chosen that as a career path. I'm like, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be Tom Savini. I was just talking to Chet Zar yesterday on his show, and we were special effects and all of that. And it's always been, I love that stuff so much. Yeah, that was the goal. And then, what was it? Like I was 16 when all the guys really exploded at Marvel. Like that's when when I was 16, like that's when like the Jim Lees and the McFarlanes really
for sure
came out. And then I was like, what the fuck? So then I was like, what this comic book thing?
Yeah, that's got me.
Yeah, because my brother was into comics, but like he was into 80s comics and they were just boring. So I was like, comics are kind of boring. I was like, I'd rather draw and sculpt and make masks. And then here comes McFarlane, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. That's so awesome, man. And then eventually
shifted gears. Like he was the first guy I aped. I'm gonna I'll show him one day, but I have like old high school drawings of Venom and stuff.
And then eventually McFarlane leaves you a voice message, and you thought it was a prank phone
20
call.
years later.
Because I was still living in LA, and you were like, dude, I thought one of you guys was prank phone calling me, but he was like, what did he say? He's like, yeah, is this Jason Stud Alexander?
It's the first thing that man
this is Todd McFarlane, bud. And you were like, this is a joke, right? Who is this? Jim? Is this Ryan? Like, which friend of mine like is imitating? And it was actually McFarlane. It was actually the Todd.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I let it go to voicemail. So I was like, this isn't really happening. And it was really like a kind of a star-studded or a starstruck moment, because then I listened to the voicemail. I'm like, fuck, like, did he call me stud? And I'm like, so I call him back, and then like I was literally, I think I had pulled over. I was about to go into the comic book store, so I was like had my first conversation with him like in my truck on the side of the road, like. And I was like, holy shit, I'm talking to Todd McFarlane.
So did you just walk into the store just like, I just spoke to the Todd father?
Yes. Yeah.
I went in all nettled. Like I bring it in. Like, so I'm just like in my brain, I'm like, you guys have no idea.
Yeah. It was funny, man. When in Portland in like 2018, I went to the Image Comics Expo. Like once a year, Image used to do their own little mini convention where they would invite retailers from all over the country and promote their new products and stuff. And we were in the green room, and Todd was in the green room, And I had met him before just very briefly, but I started chatting with him and I was like, yeah, I'm really good friends with Jason Shawn Alexander. He's doing a bunch of stuff for you right now. And he's like, Bud, you got to tell him he's making these paintings for the covers, and they're these 4 foot or 5 foot tall paintings that he's taking too long, Bud. You got to tell him to speed up. And I was like, why don't you tell him? Like, I'm just me. You're Todd McFarlane. Like, you tell him. And then he's like, well, good point, whatever. But, you could tell there was a lot of love and admiration there. And then he bought one of your paintings. I went to the McFarlane offices in Arizona, and our homegirl, Hope Harris, posed for you for, was it Spawn's daughter?
Cyan, yeah.
Yeah. So Hope played Rita in my Girl Scouts live action pilot. Incredible actress and model. She poses for you, and then I go to the McFarlane Studios, and there's like a painting of Hope, like this 5 foot tall, gorgeous painting of her in the McFarlane offices. So I shot a photo of that, and then I sent it to Hope and was like, I don't know if you know who Todd McFarlane is, but you're hanging in his incredible, gorgeous studio in Arizona. And, she flipped out, of course.
She's like, who?
No, she knew. I mean, she knew.
No, I'm kidding.
I love those moments of like, oh, this whole thing happened. This whole big thing.
And Todd's so blue collar. Like, he even made that whole thing even feel like silly, because you're just like, he's like, I want to. How much should that painting be? Like, I think we're gonna get that painting. I got a lot of paintings to Spawn. I don't have any bloody face cyan. I need bloody face cyan. Okay. It wasn't like this moves me and this hits me and blah blah blah. He's like, I already got enough Spawn. I need a bloody faced cyan. I'm like, right. Okay. Well, so I painted one.
Do you have to ship that to him then? Like, is that you and your crew have to ship that?
I think, yeah, that one we shipped. Yeah.
Okay, shit.
We have an art shipper.
Okay, that's right. Okay, that's a whole production, just shipping. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they build a crate for a painting. They'll build a crate.
Yeah.
Which is funny because comic book people are not used to fine art sensibilities for shipping. So anytime I've been repped by somebody and I've sent them my art, it comes like in a crate or whatever, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like I was expecting FedEx boxes all fucked up. I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah.
It's like, no, but yeah, I prefer crates getting built.
How about scanning? Like, do you take pictures, right? Especially when they're that big.
If there's nothing that for me that beats a scanner. And then the next step is traditional photography that goes to transparencies, and those transparencies are scanned. So that's the way I do it with all my the fine art stuff. I'll go have transparencies shot and then scanned in on a drum scanner, and then those are the quality is incredible. It's still like digital is not caught up yet.
Okay.
But for anything that's 3 foot or less, or 4 foot or less, I will grid out on the back, and we put the scanner in the middle of the room, and we scan it in grids, and I tile it together in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that has the best quality, because you see the little shadows from the paint and all that stuff. It's wonderful. But 4 foot is my cutoff.
Yeah, I got
it's a lot of effort. Well, dude, you're one of the few artists in our crew that is has had all this experience in both comic art, the commercial art world, and also the fine art world, where you've done full blown gallery shows. You were repped by that gallery in Miami 101 and have had these insane fine art shows that I've gone to the openings, and there's these blue chip art collectors there. And suddenly the paintings are now at this certain price level. Whereas in comics, we're pricing our stuff at this level. And you're one of the few guys I've known, like you and Kent Williams, that have had experience in both worlds. It's pretty impressive that you were able to do all that. When you were doing Empty Zone, you self-published Empty Zone first while you were assisting and apprenticing with Kent Williams. Is that right?
No, I did all of the Empty Zone stuff initially before I met Kent.
Okay.
And then I started a mini series that only went 2 or 3 issues of Empty Zone, and that's when I met Kent, and that's when I was learning how to use photo reference and all that stuff. But yeah, we then shared a studio for about 3 years, something like that.
Right. Okay. And that was in South Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I learned to be a painter. Like that, between him and George Pratt and all of that stuff. Like that's when I started to learn to like level. I leveled up and everything. That was really fun. So that was my exposure to the fine art world as well. He and I actually started getting into filmmaking. We actually wrote and directed a short film that was not so short. It was like 20 minutes. And then we just couldn't find a good edit that we loved. And so it's literally just sitting in a file somewhere.
Oh, no.
But then we wound up, because he knew a commercial guy, we wound up doing a Converse commercial. We directed a Converse commercial that I was in.
Yeah, that's right.
What?
And it showed at like the European MTV Awards and all this other stuff, we were told. But then they already started doing more of them here, and so by the time it was kind of ready to show here, they were already tired of it. So it never really aired in the US.
Yeah. I think Scott Morse did one of those as well. Like they were getting LA-based artists and comic people, and yeah, it was a crazy campaign.
Yeah, we were one of the early ones to help sell the campaign that I think Butler was doing. And so then we got all excited, like, dude, let's just do this for real and move to LA. And he was like, let's go to LA. We literally packed up the trucks and stuff and drove across country and moved to LA. And so we were going to like make film. And as soon as we got here, we really just started embracing and really fell into the art world, and just started exhibiting more, and like the gallery thing took over. So like the film thing just kind of like, I did do a short horror, like dark humor horror film that we entered into a few festivals, that I might actually pull out of the files and repost.
Was that the dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that called?
Dinner.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just dinner. Just murder dinner.
Light cannibal story.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we got into the fine art, and everything kind of took that thing.
Yeah, because man, when I met you and started hanging out with you in like 07, 08, you were just doing fine art and painting and freelance illustration work. Like you had taken sort of a break from comics. And so I went to your gallery show. I think it was the Mourners art show. And it was very like serious, dark paintings. It was very like, oh shit, this guy's on some like, he's listening to Tool, and he's like a serious man who dresses like Tom Waits and has like a little hat on and drinks scotch. Like, I don't know if I can be friends with this guy because he's too classy and like, and then we started hanging out, and I was like, oh no, he's just a bro. He's just a guy. He's just our homie. And then once I figured out we could talk about Todd McFarlane, and we could talk about Richard Corbin or whatever we were talking about. Bill Sienkiewicz was a huge connector.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we start hanging out and drawing together, and then like Bill Sienkiewicz is showing up to our Thursday night drawing sessions or whatever. And that's when everything got full circle and was like really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, that was like me, you, and Kent. You know, we're like a core every week at Amalfi, because Kent would show up and sketch quite a bit, and then Adam Jones showed up a few times.
Oh yeah,
from Tool.
Yeah, wild.
Jeez. He drinks the Appletinis.
Yeah. Yeah, surprising.
He likes the light booze. He likes the apple. He's like, anything else gets me all fucked up. I love it. Yeah, we met through the gallery thing. Adam, we met through the gallery thing, and we both started having kids again at the same time. So like we've been to like our kids' birthday parties and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. It's interesting to see how things like evolve. That's the cool thing about LA is you never know like who you're going to meet or what's going to happen or what's going to lead to another thing. And then suddenly you're like working on a movie or doing freelance for a musician, or so-and-so is in your studio. Someone like I just saw that David Desmalchich.
Yeah.
How do you say his last name?
Desmalchich.
Yeah, he visited your studio. He's a brilliant actor. He's Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad James Gunn movie.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
And he's the main dude in Late Night with the Devil, and he writes comics, right? He's writing the Victor Crowley at
that
Dark
one.
Horse.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I miss about the city is you never know who's gonna just
right. Oh yeah,
show
no,
up
he
at
came
your
to pose for Empty Zone.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, he's one of the models for Empty Zone now.
Okay.
Whoa.
That's
Jim,
awesome.
do you think you'll go back to LA?
I mean, I never say never, but at this point, I don't know, readjusting to living there just because I've had a break from the traffic and the hecticness for so long. That if
Also,
I
I'd imagine at 20, it's one thing. At our age, it's a different thing.
yeah, it's so easy to not be inconvenienced living in the Midwest, I guess. But no, the weird stuff of living there, like I mentioned, I mean, that is sort of the highlight of being there, is just having access to all these crazy people.
Yeah. Because that's where they are.
Yeah. I mean, going to your guys' openings, like whenever you would have an opening or Kent Williams would have an opening, it's like you're in a room with the most talented people basically in the world. Like all the artists show up for each other's shows, and there's also art collectors and movie producers. So you're hobnobbing with people, you're making connections, but you're also standing next to like Zoe Milk and Dave Crosland and Mike Huddleston, and you're just in a room with like the best people. It's very inspiring.
To this day, like there's the fine art scene, is that alive still?
I believe so. I really spent most of my focus on comics for the last probably 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've just recently, as of like in the last week, started bringing out the big canvases and painting again. And so I'm and I have a gallery downtown that's going to show my prints that I'm having made. So basically, I'm dipping my toe back in. So I'll report back.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
So
I miss it a little bit.
Yeah. So when you do this, again, we said you're really, really eclectic. So but you do comic books, you do fine art, you do a bunch of stuff. So when you, for example, now the moment you're describing now, you want to go back to fine art. It's just you feel like it, or there's a business decision behind that? What's the force that drives this kind of choices, going from fine art to comic books, then back to fine art?
They've always, for me, especially even when I was represented by the gallery and really having deadlines to paint, so I was painting a lot. They've always informed each other for me, and like in really lovely ways. I really jump from like what I need to do internally, creatively, and I need to draw comics sometime. I love telling stories. I love angles. I love panels. I love panel borders. And then I recently realized I kind of started feeling a little constrained, small paper or small screen or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I was like, I haven't painted in a while. And so when I paint, I can be vague. I can be abstract. I can be expressive. It's mine. And I can let out things and experiment in ways that comics doesn't allow. And it's a blast. And then at some point I start looking over, I'm like, I really want to draw comics again. And so when I come back to like the comics to the painting brings a a more narrative and dramatic side to the paintings, and the paintings to the comics allows me to come to the comics and be more free, looser and more expressive in the comics, because I'm just like, I still have that painting, mentality. So I love jumping back and forth, as long as they don't get in each other's way as far as a deadline or something. But now my choice right now is purely creatively, because I made that decision once I went digital and all of that like I would be like, when I paint, it's always going to be physical. Mm-hmm. And so, because I love that conversation between the medium and the paper and the that's just something I never want to let go of. And I made sure that it was just going to be for me, because when, an editor making changes to when you do a physical painting and then they're like, oh, make the eyes red. I'm like, it's like, it doesn't work for me as well with production stuff anymore. Concept design, things like that. And covers, I'm much more free with, and they're like, oh, could you make this smaller? I'm like, okay. Yeah. So that allows, and it also allows just the painting to be mine. It's become so much more personal, and so it's not financial. Like, when I have enough paintings, I'll show them, but I'm not stressed until then.
Makes sense. Right. So you mentioned digital for a brief second, and this brings me to a subject that might be still painful for you, but I don't know.
No,
I want to ask you. Were you able in the end to recover those pages that you've lost, the digital pages? I remember a few months ago.
I lost about a week. I lost about 7 pages.
Oh, okay.
I recovered a lot.
So it's not that painful as a subject. Okay, awesome.
No, it's been time now. Like, time and weed cure all.
Wow, well said. Well said. That's the quote of the episode. Yeah. That's the quote.
Time and weed cure. That's a T-shirt.
Everything. Yeah. So for people that don't know, just a brief explanation about this. This probably a year ago or so.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Not quite a year.
So you posted about losing an entire issue, probably like a full 24 page or something.
Yeah, a solid chunk of it. Yeah. I thought at least half of it was gone.
Yeah. Oh. So you were working on a book, and basically you find out one day that a big chunk of the pages were gone because they were done all digitally, and you couldn't find the files. So but we never talked about it. So I was curious to see if we were able to recover. So I'm happy to hear that they were at least partially recovered.
Yes. And honestly, and it's one of those where since I've read, and at that time I was like, maybe I'll just quit. And now the pages are way better now than they were. Yeah. I'm like, on the second around, I'm like, this is okay.
Yeah, now you're thankful you that happened probably, but back then I remember, now that you make me think about it, I remember that you were internally debating if just quitting the project or not. And I don't know, it never happened to me to completely lose, because I don't work digitally, so to completely lose a full thing.
Right.
The whole thing
if
can happen
a studio
to me.
Fire. You're like, would you go back?
I had a friend lose stuff in a fire. Yeah, that's rough.
Or having my son. So every time, I have a
demon.
I have a small gate that closes the access to my studio, and every time I make sure, because I have one of my worst nightmares is that my son has access to my studio, and one day somebody forgets to lock that small gate, and house breaks loose in my studio, and
oh my God.
I get hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of pages that's destroyed by this fucking ass.
little Italian Damien loose in your studio.
That's why I never tell him, one of those things, if you see something dangerous, don't tell them to not touch them, because that's the first thing they're gonna do. I never talk about how precious my art is. so that I know that he doesn't have a new thing that he can hurt me with, you know?
This is called defensive parenting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to let you know what I care about the most, so you cannot hurt me that much.
Oh my God.
Oh shit. Jay, with the comic stuff going back and forth from fine art comics, when you was the last Empty Zone you did, was that your kind of reintroduction to comics, and then that led to the Todd father hitting you up about doing the Spawn stuff? Is that kind of what started it, restarted it? Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that run, and then I went over and did Frostbite, for Vertigo.
That's right.
And then it was right at the end of Frostbite, I got the email from Todd. I was like, huh? So
yeah. And then you did a long run on Spawn, right? Like you did.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because he talks about doing this in interviews, but I'd never seen it. It had come to me actually doing a panel once in San Diego. I was sitting there with like Sienkiewicz and Dave McKeon and Dave Mack and all these guys. And as we introduced ourselves, everybody listed like the couple of books that you know them from. And everybody was like, yeah, of course. And I sat there and I was like, oh shit, I don't have a body of work. Like I have a ton of miniseries. I have a lot little miniseries and fill-in issues, but I'm like, I don't have anything anybody can go to. I was like, I need that. And then cut to a couple of years later when Todd hits me up for Spawn, I do the 6 issues, but like they like what I'm doing and all of that. And he starts hitting me up about issue 300. And I was like, I could just hang out till issue 300 because he wanted me to come back. And he was just like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is going to be my body of work. I'm going to be on the stands every goddamn month and it was 2.5 years. I was on the,
wow.
And it really 26 issues. And,
fantastic.
Yeah. And then 36 on Philadelphia right after.
Dude, that's serious stuff. Because because I remember your workflow with Spawn, you were doing it pen and ink on paper in the beginning. And then I remember when you were like, dude, this violates every fiber of my being, but you're like, I got to go to digital to make comics. I don't have the time to pencil and ink a monthly book, like just out of necessity. And I remember that being kind of a big deal at the time because you and I are such like ink guys, like analog guys, that you were almost shocked to say it out loud. You were like, I got to go to digital, man. Like, this is fucking crazy. And like, go to digital, whatever gets the book done, I
had played with it with the Cintiq and stuff. And then the Cintiq just collected dust for 2 years. I was just like, I hate this. I hate it all. And it was the goddamn Procreate and that pencil. Because I did a sample page and then I printed it out, and then I was going to do all the spattering work on top of it. When I printed it out, whatever the brush I was using that didn't have like 100% opacity, I'm looking at this thing and I can't tell that it's not ink. Wow. I'm like, holy shit. And that was where I was like, okay. I was like, if I can make it, not if I can fool people, it was if I can make it feel like I need it to look. I need it to look like ink. And holy shit, it looks like ink.
I always cite
and
you
it took half the time.
As having this seamless like transition. Your traditional inks, your digital inks look so similar. It's crazy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I work similar in the same. I very not that many layers, and if I'm spattering on top of line art. So if I fuck it up, just like whiteout, I'd have to go back in and clean it all up.
So how many issues did you do? How many issues did you do traditionally versus the digital ones?
Spawn was most of the run. I did the last 5 issues maybe digitally.
Oh shit! Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were able to keep the monthly pace, or you had a different shit.
Oh, that's incredible.
And then I did the first issue and a half of Philadelphia traditionally, and I was like, no. And and so that was fun. But then like I really like experimented and it really blew up learning digital when with Philadelphia, because that was 36 issues, and most of those are digital.
That's a lot. That's a big run, man. It's impressive. That's awesome. The best thing about the Spawn stuff was tabling next to you at conventions, and then suddenly Spawn fans start coming to your table.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's a whole different crop of fans. That's a whole different scene to show up at your table. But it's great because it's like, well, now your work is exposed to this whole other audience, and the Spawn fans are very, very fanatical. They're very loyal to Todd and everything he's putting out.
Yeah,
you know,
they're like Kiss fans.
That kind of
yes,
yeah.
Well said.
Did that kind of audience kept like, or it faded once you stopped working on Spawn? I'm curious about that.
I brought a lot over with me for Philadelphia.
Nice,
awesome.
And the audience hasn't right now I'm doing stuff with Todd, but like they seem to always enjoy when I would come back and do it. Like I did a few fill-in issues of King Spawn and stuff like that, and they've been great. But yeah, I'm really hoping to bring them over for Empty Zone. But yeah, they seem like they're into the creators as well as Spawn. But Spawn is still the pinnacle.
Yeah. And then, man, we got to talk about your Detective Comics.
Oh yeah,
run.
yeah, right.
Because you were, I mean, being able to work with Batman, obviously that's super huge. That was Ram V writing? And what's the, let's talk about Batman.
It's what one of the editors told me was called what they would call an intermission arc.
What?
Here's an exciting arc, and here's a chill out arc, and here's another exciting arc. Guess where Jason got it?
I remember your comment to me about this, but I'll let you say it.
I got to draw Batman without drawing Batman. Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, I remember you saying
five issues of Batman just being under a spell and chained up, and then he comes out so they can hang him and kill him in the city hall, city square, which I got to draw. The most exciting Batman thing I've gotten to draw is him dead hanging from a fucking noose. And then there's 2 issues, 1 or 2 issues after of them taking his body, because it's a whole thing. It's an Ocean's 11 thing run by. So basically, it was like we got 5 issues of Batman where you don't really draw Batman,
and of course they told you in
I have other
advance.
critiques, but that's more of a DC editorial situation.
Did you discover it once you had the script, or did they tell you up front?
No,
of course.
Each script. I'm just like, I would read it and go and just like set it down, and I'm like.
It's like Jason. It's like, I hope you're having fun drawing Commissioner Gordon. You know,
yes,
I hope
that's it. And it's Catwoman not in her outfit, so it's like I'm drawing like non-Catwoman arguing with Commissioner Gordon, and I'm just like,
yeah.
So it was just bad timings, bad scheduling, it was just It just reminded me. I was just like, by the end of it, I had a whole different determination to go back and to make Empty Zone. I was like, I'm truly tired of working with other people. I'm truly tired of like being on someone else's schedule. So. Well,
it's a weird mystery when you work with a writer, because you don't know what's going to happen until you get that script, right? Like for all of us that have worked with writers, it's like, well, hopefully the scripted rocks and there's great stuff for me to draw, but what if you get an arc where it's just people standing around and talking?
Yeah.
That's not...
You find a way to make it interesting, at least to you. So that's what I was really doing, was just finding fun, crazy angles and different ways to draw stuff. But inevitably, I was always aware that I was on a Batman book, telling everybody I was drawing Batman, and I wasn't really drawing Batman.
Right.
So it's just like
that sucks.
My solution to that would be you got to make your own bootleg Batman comic.
Right.
Write it and draw it
Man
yourself.
himself,
You'll have a blast. Trust me. You will have a blast.
I feel like I may have to take that route with the other company's characters because they're never going to hire me, and so I need to draw a Ghost Rider inspired book.
Oh, there you go.
That
There
would
you
be
go.
awesome.
Oh shit.
So, yeah.
There you
So,
go.
yeah. I'll have you publish it, Jim. It'll go into your
For sure.
satirical line.
Well, is it okay to ask, like, why doesn't Marvel hit you up?
I have my theories.
Okay. We don't have to get into it.
No, years and years ago, I did an issue of Marvel Zombies.
Oh, shit. That's right.
And they really dug it. And I was actually in a trip in New York, and some of the editors took me out to lunch. And they were just like, this is great, man. Like, what do you want to do at Marvel? I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, let's talk about it when I get back and blah, blah, blah. So I'll just say the editor-in-chief, one of the main editors at the time, was pitching me on doing a book over, and kind of like this one. It was like I think it was a Namor book that doesn't have Namor in it. And
I know the book.
And so it was being pitched to me, and then
it's called No More.
No More.
Nice.
Matteo with the assassin's rifle on that one. That was good.
I was kind of being courted from that for a while, and then something came up at Dark Horse that was potentially a huge opportunity, and so I had to say that I would have to pass on that one. And I think the person took that quite personally, and I all of a sudden, what do you want to do at Marvel turned into like no more email responses. No, the editors I did talk to said like, ooh, I don't know. We're gonna have to look at schedules. And literally from that point forward, like DC out of the blue, just hitting me up for work and all of that stuff. I've had popular artists at Marvel send my name to the art people, and so I'm like, I got blacklisted like 15 years ago, and I didn't even realize it. So,
yeah, I mean, there's a new crop of people there now, so it's almost like you refresh yourself to new editors there. I don't know, but
right. And the other thing was recent, like as far as the art director guy, that whatever. So Marvel just doesn't dig what I throw down.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're better off doing the bootleg books, doing your own books. I think you're on the right path, Jay.
It's probably it's one of those things like losing, the pages for Empty Zone. Like it's probably one of those things for the best because I grew up with Marvel, so I could easily be enticed to like stay, like draw Wolverine, draw Ghost Rider, draw Spider-Man, and I'll just keep drawing shit for Marvel. Mm-hmm. But without that, it really puts the dedication into making my own stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah,
makes sense. Speaking of your stuff,
yes,
there's a campaign on Zoop with a book of yours called Scrooge, A Christmas Carol. And it's actually like ongoing, like it's happening right now. So we'll make sure that this episode comes out next week. So you'll still have probably another, I don't know, probably
another
2
week.
weeks. Another week, yeah. Well, the campaign is going well so far. You already exceeded the goal, but talk to us about this, this project.
This one it's the actual book itself is like a 200-page 10 by 10 hardcover of the original text for Scrooge, written by Charles Dickens with like 85 illustrations by me throughout. So it's like an adult children's book. Like it's literally a page of text and illustration through the whole book. I was the fun part was that I was hired to draw this 25 years ago for an abridged children's book. And so I read the abridged children's book. I was like, oh, yay. And I did all 85 illustrations, pen and ink with quill, because that's what I inked with. So I'm like, and then the book didn't come out, and then the company went under, or the company was sold. So that was it. So then cut to 25 years later, and my wife is, we're going through flat files, and she sees this. She goes, what the hell is this? It's like, oh, yeah, Scrooge. I still have all that stuff. And she's flipping out over it because she just likes whatever I do, which is nice. But so I was like, dude, let's do like a cash grab and like see if we can publish this work. I don't have to do any work. I already did it 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I start putting the book together, and all of a sudden, then I'm like fixing like, oh, that eye is wrong, or oh, this elbow is wrong, or maybe if I had this little thing, or maybe if I, if it had a gray tone behind each illustration, wouldn't that make it pop more? And so then it came to like, I grew up with this story. I love this story. I was like, this is the only time I'm going to do an adaptation of this. I'm not coming back to Scrooge.
Yeah,
but I also want it to be significant and not like I want it to be I want it to be a volume that someone really loves to flip through, not just a quick Amazon grab. So I was like, all right, let's add a few extra months. And so then I started working digitally on top of each illustration. And some of them I would just elaborate on, and some of them I would just use as pencils and re-ink and redraw. But I don't really shoot reference for this. I want to keep that same cartooning freehand energy. So this book has a different feel from pretty much anything I've done before, because it's not like this photo-esque darks thing. It's cartoony dark stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Gotcha.
It's beautiful work.
It looks amazing, dude. And you're selling those original drawings in the Zoop campaign, correct?
There's a few of them that are available. And then we're also doing, I'm also doing sketch plates.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, you did that on our show.
Oh,
yeah. I came back and did the white highlights last night.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wait.
Beautiful, man.
Wait, he's not done yet. There you go. There's Marley.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, beautiful.
Dude, that's amazing.
And then another Scrooge.
Damn,
Nice.
dude.
So these are the sketch plates that come with the sketch plate reward. Also, not just to jump ship really quick, but Shawn, we did a live stream last night and talked about your and we were glowing about your campaign. And
oh, thanks, man.
And it's funny, we put up a link and we were talking about it, and then my assistant jumped over and saw a couple of like a sale go, and we were like, yes!
Yeah, dude, I was wondering what happened last night, because I was on a podcast and I had a lecture, and I just saw like these sales coming. I'm like, who said something? Because it's always when someone says
that's
something.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, it works. It totally works.
Yeah, we were doing
that's what,
YouTube Live last night.
yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. So yeah, everyone having a Kickstarter campaign, like having people talk about it, it helps. It really helps.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, and I love that everybody's supporting everybody's campaign.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that, Jay. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You've been awesome. You guys have helped push my thing. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Like
it's like
this.
everyone has to hype each other's projects or it doesn't really work. You have to be in there and hyping up each other, and but I mean, everybody's doing such awesome work. It's not like we're trying to sell something illegitimate. Yeah. It's like, no, dude, all these people are operating at the highest level. Like, please support their projects. That's how this works,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Also, I see
honestly,
there's
like all these books, Matteo's, Jim's, all of it. Like this, the work is stellar.
Oh, thanks, brother.
Thanks, man.
Dude,
These are
it's a
great
very
books to be promoting.
Yeah, it's a creatively exciting time to like be doing your own books right now, and it's awesome.
Yeah, also
having a
want to tell
blast.
the audience that all the projects that we talked about during this episode, there's some of the originals from Batman, the Marvel Zombies, Spawn. There's some of the original art is available on this campaign. So if you want to get yourself an original piece of art by Jason, you can find it here on the campaign.
Nice.
And I believe there's still a slot or two open for a commission as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks,
awesome.
man.
And
No,
Jay,
absolutely.
Moving forward, is your current project writing and drawing, doing the next Empty Zone, your creator-owned book? Is that along with working with McFarlane? But that's next year, I think you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm on issue 4 right now of The Freak, and so we haven't solicited yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be a 6-issue miniseries. While I'm after Scrooge, it'll be while I'm working on Empty Zone, it'll be Freak, and then I'm doing a few like trading card covers for Upper Deck, and then an album cover for a band called Twisted.
Nice.
Nice.
And an Empty Zone, how long is it gonna be, like, overall? Is it gonna be ongoing with, is there a open ending so that the story might continue? Or
I would.
in the future?
This is the most I've really worked on, like writing and plotting, and really seeing the series beyond a certain point. And so, yeah, this one is meant to be ongoing.
Nice.
I'll probably take like a skip month between arcs, but just like a month. And then I have books to fill in those months of, like, we put together the Empty Zone Omnibus, which is everything that's ever been printed of Empty Zone before the Image days, which is a 300-page book.
Wow.
Shit.
And it's all, indie black and white, just coming up on my own, from self-published stuff to indie company stuff that they publish.
Are you gonna work with the publisher for Empty Zone?
My goal is to I would love to launch an imprint at Image next year. I would just like to launch my own imprint, because I want to do my books. I have other creators that want to do books that I love. I would like to do that. I would like to help
That's great.
bring in books that would otherwise not get looked at.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
It's awesome. I love that you're always multitasking. You're always, it's not just one project, it's like 5 different projects always.
I feel like all of us are doing that.
Yeah.
I mean,
You sort of have to now. Like,
yeah, it's kind of
you
the
have to
way
be
now.
a social media dude. You have to be a this. But what was it, Todd? Todd said something in an interview that was great. It was like, you have to know how many things you can juggle. He's like, you can't juggle all the things. He's like, figure it out. He's like, I can juggle 5. And he was like, if I have anything else that comes in, I got to get rid of one of those to put it in its place. And I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. I was like, 5. And I was just like, I can't. I can juggle 3.
I'm at my max. I'm at my max right now. I think I need to get rid of one thing. Well, it'll end soon, but yeah, I'm over my max, I think.
Yeah,
right
I'm
now.
already struggling with 2. So normally I'd rather do just one at a time.
I like how none of us can compare to the power of McFarlane. McFarlane can do 5. The rest of us are like maybe 3, maybe 2.
Well, that's exactly the reason why he's McFarlane and we're not. Probably.
But Matteo, consider this: the podcast is a thing. Like doing this show is a thing. I mean, it's not just about drawing 5 things; it's about doing 5 things.
Yeah,
and this is like our shows is a big thing.
Yeah,
that we do,
and
that's why
this is what I told my buddy about that, with the McFarlane thing. And I was like, but also, none of those things include the drawing table. That's important.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
He's doing 5 business things.
Right?
That's different than doing 3 business things and then sitting down and drawing a page that day.
Yeah, that's like, no joke. Yeah, that changes like, definitely.
Those of us that are still at the table, like, you can't do, you have to, like, I will have days where it's like, this is admin day. I'm like, this is not drawing day.
Yeah. I hate admin day. I just want to draw.
Dude, that's what today is. Like after this show, I'm on emails and computer shit all day. Like today.
It's got to be done, right?
Yeah,
but I really, there's the days where I'm like, I just want to be in studio drawing. I don't want to deal with anything.
That's the thing. I think all of us would love to just be able to just sit and draw and not have to do anything else, but it's just not realistic.
It's an obvious thing to say, but it's just, it's when you see the new emails come in, you're like, do I have to address this right now today? I'd rather just put that off.
Literally have, that's why I have Joe, my part-time assistant. Like, he literally is that filter for me. I'm like, please check the emails and then tell me if anything's important. I can't.
And then Jay, the last thing, since you work in a studio outside of your home, do you have like a hard out every day where you're like, okay, at 6 o'clock, the work just ends every day and you go home, or does it kind of vary depending on the day?
Summer break is different, but most of the time my hard out is around 5 o'clock to go pick up my daughter from school. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of helpful to have a hard out. I like, that, because of ADHD or whatever, it gives me, having that deadline and that thing helps me. Like, because then I'm always seeing it, so I'm always aware of it. I don't. My wife has like the time blindness version, but I have like the time acuteness where I'm just like staring at the clock the whole time. Because there's a lot I have to do, or like sometimes I'll have to shift projects throughout the day, and so the best thing I can do is meditate on it and then make it fun.
Right.
I'm just like I'm just going to like bust ass on this Joker thing for a minute, and then like have lunch, and then hop over to Freak and
oh shit, I would never be able to do that. That's why, like, for example, right now I'm juggling 2 books at the same time, and originally my plan was like, you know what, I'm gonna try and do this. So once I finish one page of this thing, then I'm gonna be able to start working on this other page for this other thing, and then go back to the other project. And then I didn't even try at the end because it's too much. So I'm just finishing. I'm just, as usual, like over the past 18 years, like I've been doing for the past 18 years, I'll just finish this project. I'd be 100% focused on that, and then finish this one, and then go back to the other one, and that's it. I can't work that way. My brain doesn't work that way.
No, my goal is to like when I start Empty Zone, my goal is to like be on one comics project. Because I'm with you on that. It's a different discipline and mentality, but then I enjoy taking breaks to work on like cover paintings or cards or whatever. Something that's not comics, but like
that's absolutely another realm.
I like shifting gears that way, but like right now I'm with you. I'm in between 2 comics, and they got 2 different personalities, and it's a little exhausting.
Yeah, that's tricky.
All right, fellas, we did it. We did our hour. Anything you want to shout out, Jay? Anything to look out for, or you want to shout out your socials or any of that stuff?
You know what? We have a growing community with especially with guys like Inkpulp at Patreon. So Jason Shawn Alexander is my Patreon, and I'm linking right now with guys like Inkpulp and Chet Zar and stuff like that. And like I love that. I love the whole referencing other pages now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So all of our Patreon subscribers, I have recommended through our Patreon to them your stuff. So if you're not on a Patreon, go check out Jason's Patreon for sure.
I love supporting. Do you guys have individual Patreons at all?
No, just
Jim, Matteo?
Collective.
Nice.
No. That would be
so that's
enough.
it, because I like that.
That would be. I mean, if I decided to have that one, then amongst the other thing, I gotta drop my family in order to have space in my mind. And it couldn't be a great thing. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
All right, Matteo, are you ready?
Okay, I'm gonna change the locks in my door so they can't come in anymore. And
all right. We
go support Jason's campaign on Zoop.
Oh, definitely.
Zoop.gg/C/Scrooge. It's the link.
Thanks for your time, homie.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Jay.
Guys.
Thanks for coming on. And I'm going to apologize for what's about to happen. I'm sure you're probably aware, but in case
right, because in your previous episode, I wasn't there, Jason. So you don't know what happens at the end. A really annoying thing is gonna happen. Be prepared.
Okay. It hurts. It hurts.
The Inkpulp Podcast.